Illinois weather besides that. Yeah, and we had a couple warm days before that, enough to kind of tie you over, like it is coming. Yep. Yeah, there's definitely energy. Everybody needed that break and kind of those couple weeks before, everyone's stressed and on each other's nerves and that sort of thing. So it was nice this morning, smiling faces, all the kids telling you where they went or what they did, and a couple baseball and softball games here and there. So kids updating us. So it's just a good feeling, and it's kind of renewed, refreshed, and let's all work together to get to the end of the school year. Yeah, so it sounds like the governor wants this to go through, so I think it probably will, not for this upcoming school year, but for the next one, I believe. And so we discuss it every year when we update our student handbook and talk about it. Everybody's situation is unique. We don't have a lot of discipline issues, with cell phones. So generally, our expectation and rule is if any adult asks you to put your cell phone away and you don't comply, then you would go to the office. And so that's probably a kid or two a year. Our kids are generally respectful of adults, which is great. But however, cell phones are a distractor, right? They are for you and I. You can't go anywhere and they're not being used at the doctor's office. And you think about how many things you miss just checking a quick text or getting online. And so I understand the rationale behind it, especially in a school setting where the focus should be learning. Yeah, I think the biggest issue I have is local control. And with 800 school districts, right, we all have different needs in terms of cell phones. And we should be able to make those decisions, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen for us. I tend to be more of a responsible use type person. I was a computer teacher, a business teacher. And so I do want kids to know when they should use it, when they shouldn't, right? Rather than a complete ban. So it's a little bit surprising to me. And especially that we're not getting to make that decision. And so there'll be a lot to work through in the next year as we prepare for that, and just communication with families, that sort of thing. But I do think about it often because I find myself on my phone so much. And when I broke mine, you go through this like 24-hour kind of panic period. Like I should be checking my phone. I should, because it's just such a habit. I think about young minds and their lack of ability to control those impulses. Discipline issues, although we don't have a lot with kids refusing to turn off their phone or give up their phone, anytime there's drama, it does usually start, right? Via cell phones, social media, that sort of thing. So we might buy some time back. I think it'll be interesting to see, what we really do get back from not having them. That's exactly how it goes. And it's not just cell phones, right? AirPods, it's Apple Watches, it's they have a Chromebook all day long. And so how do you, if you ban one thing, how are we making sure we're controlling that effectively? Yeah, I mean, that's the bigger transition we're going through. I think when cell phones, I was a teacher when cell phones first became a huge issue, right? And now it's really AI. So I feel like we're a little bit behind at the state level. Like we've learned to manage cell phones for the most part, but now it's AI. And it's, you can ask Chat GPT anything and it could look like a text and kids can do it quick, right? They're way faster than we are. And so again, I err on the side of the responsible use. We have had a few cheating issues, right? And we've gone through it with them. We have our teachers teaching kids when to use AI and when not, right? My son just took an exam and he's in graduate school, and the questions were use Chat GPT to respond to these questions, right? But then the other part of it was now analyze that information and give me making it teaching responsible use. And so I think we have a responsibility in that area. And hopefully we're past the obvious cheating things, but it's going to be much more overwhelming and a bigger change for us than cell phones. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. I'm more on the teach responsible use. Maybe at the younger ages, I could be open to that, right? And we don't have a ton of kids in elementary, but we do some. But definitely elementary and junior high, I think it makes sense. High school, I think we got to start teaching them to prepare for this, right? Yeah, so contractors got started a couple weeks early. We had that nice weather and, the excavation work could begin. It was a great time for that. And so quickly, they put in their temporary road and got everything set up, took down fences. And then, I left for spring break and I was only gone 3 days this week, but every day I was getting pictures of these giant mounds of dirt. And so basically, our field is torn up, so you got to tear off, 8 inches all the way down. Our track is out, our sidewalks are out because it's basically all paved areas, track, and then football field. And so this week they'll be working on, drainage systems and storm drains, and then here comes turf pretty soon. So it seems like we're way ahead of schedule. Hopefully, weather's cooperative. Our goal is August 15th, but I think we'll be ready before that. Oh, that would be amazing if we could, especially for seniors, but I think it's farther out than that, just for the design of the turf and the installation, and especially it takes a long time to get those cuts in and get it prepared. Yeah, so we've got the it does. And so we've got the honeycomb if you've been in our new gym in the basketball lane. So we've got that honeycomb theme in the end zones. So it's kind of just trying to carry that throughout, but it's just amazing what a difference it can make. Just having your school colors out there. We will be having a change order for some concrete additional at the entrance, like old concrete that's broken up. If you're going to do this whole stadium, you might as well get that done. And then we're moving a bunch of field events around so that we can add pole vault and have more long jump pits. And so we are going to be looking at adding a storage shed. So we've been working on the design of that over break and just, get something out there that we can get all this track equipment, football equipment, and also use it as, visitor meeting space at halftime if needed. Yeah, so we've made plans to host those at other schools around us. And so they've been so cooperative. We've had some practices at Wesleyan. Like it's really good to have close neighbors that have gone through similar things and, working with Clinton, working with Tri Valley. Like It's hard because it's changed and it feels like it's only impacting track, right? But I think it'll all be worth it in the long run. I don't think so. We'll use our practice field, half a field that we have, and then probably start using ours in August. No, we'll just be sharing more information when it is ready to open up to the public. We have a lot of people use our track for walking and exercise, and so we'll be communicating about that and have everyone come out and celebrate in the opening with us. So far, our bleachers have been great, and we're not planning to do anything with those, but definitely all your concrete area around construction, you see entire heaving squares, so all of that's being replaced and hopefully this is the permanent fix, right? Yeah, download the Heyworth Hornets app and definitely check us out on Facebook and our website, husd4.org. Yeah, well, definitely spring sports, are in full swing and, you never know each day, depending on rain in this area, but baseball, softball, track are off to a great start. And then you have a lot of fun stuff. So spring performances, concerts, but the high school musical is coming up and our kids have been here and our staff has been in here late at night for many weeks preparing for the Sound of Music, which is going to be April 11th through the 13th. And we always involve some of our elementary kids in it too. So it's just one of those events that brings out huge crowds. And it's just amazing to see the talents that kids have at such a young age. So we're looking forward to that. We've got state testing going on, which is not as exciting. kind of taking over our schools right now, and the switch to ACT this year here in a couple of weeks. And believe it or not, and we were talking about this off the air, graduation is only 6 weeks away. So I'm getting a little anxiety. Like, we still have a lot to get done. We have a lot to prepare for, but our graduation is on Sundays at 2, so it's going to be May 18th. Yeah. Yep, and try to avoid all those state, contests at the end of the year. We are doing something new, and I should have mentioned it earlier, but we have a cardiac screening for 7th through 12th grade students. So some schools do this. I'm not sure how many in our area, but just kind of a screening and, flag if you need to get, treatment or something looked into. And so we're doing that on April 23rd, and parent permission went out today for anyone who wants to have their child screened. And so it's interesting to always see when schools are including more health services and more mental health services, right? And anything that can kind of tip us off to potential issues. So that's new this year. We're doing it April 23rd, and our nurse is working with an outside group to do it. And so any kid who signs up here at the junior senior high school will be screened. Yep. Yep. There's a small fee, so nobody's paying for it for us. It would probably be great if they did, but just so, hopefully we'll see what kind of turnout we get this year. And if it needs to be funded, we can look at that for next year. But you just, you see those tragic stories, we all do, of a kid, and it's something that could have been prevented if caught earlier. And so just trying to take all of that into account when offering services like this at the school. Yeah, so we have a couple retirements for next year, and we're able to fill those internally. So we have a TA that's moving to a special ed teaching position, and we have a speech pathologist who also got a PE endorsement, moving into our PE one. We've got a couple coaching positions. Girls basketball is a big one that's open right now, and interviews started on Friday. So hopefully bringing that to the next board meeting. We've got golf open. And keep your fingers crossed, nobody changes jobs or goes anywhere, because that's when it just throws it all, out there. And it's so hard. People can move and go anywhere that they want to. There's a shortage, obviously, of staff. And so there's a lot more options available. We are always looking for teacher aides, bus drivers, especially teacher aides. That seems to be getting harder and harder to find. And we usually start the year with a couple vacancies in that area. So if anybody's interested, there's a quick exam, or if you have 60 college credit hours, we encourage people to get out and, get their aid license. Yeah, I think it's a combination of issues, but it did start with just those hard to fill subjects, teaching higher level maths and sciences, right? Like, that makes sense, but it really has spread to everything. Even in elementary, we don't have anywhere near the number of candidates we used to have. And our special ed position, we had our one candidate and then one other person. So it is so weird to only have two applicants. But I think it's a combination of those things. I do think more recently, I've seen a lot of teachers going into flexible work environments. Teachers make great trainers. They can work in the corporate world, they can work from home or work from home most of the time. And then just, public scrutiny of public education, it makes it a harder job. You get people who come in for a few years and they're like, this isn't for me, right? I don't want to deal with this on social media, and I'm not prepared for this. And so the state's trying to do a lot of things, but nothing has seemed to increase that teaching pool so far. Yeah, it's hard. People aren't used to that. And it's, even our teachers who've been here for years, we try to come to their defense quickly if someone just goes off on a rant, accurate or inaccurate information, right? Like, how do you prepare people to deal with that? And you know how people are, they get reckless on social media and they just start saying hateful things. And, so we try to talk to parents about that too. And we haven't had as many issues recently, but it makes it difficult, especially for young teachers who are not used to that. Yeah, so it's a lot of end of year stuff. The big things coming is how many bills ISB and how many policies are going to change. Because you think, oh, summer break, but there's always, a load of hundreds of bills and things we have to change and update for next year. But really starting that plan, there is an election Tuesday. So 4 board seats up in Heyworth. And we will not fill one of them because we have congressional districts. So we'll be having to advertise for that and get a new board member to fill the vacant spot. And so after the election, it really will be closing out the final things for this year and starting to financial plan for next year. There's 4 for 2 spots. So those ones are contested, and one based on her district will automatically be in, and then one will be vacant. Yeah, so we have congressional districts. We have 8. And every time you don't fill all of your board seats, because the central hub of Heyworth is all one district. So of course, the people interested, are from there. So after we don't fill vacancies, we have to go to an at-large referendum, which would mean majority, but it didn't pass. There were a couple districts that was like 3-2 on votes. So we still have these old, smaller congressional districts, and sometimes it's hard to get people from those small areas. So we'll be working on that and promoting and advertising that soon. Yeah, you can't have any more than 4 from your main district. So that leaves me going to the outskirts and trying to fill seats. It's one of those things you just do in your free time. Because everybody wants to be on a school board to get complaints and all the yeah. Yeah, follow us on Facebook and also on our website, husd4.org. Thank you.
Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.